All right, let's dive into a really big move that's happening in the world of AI music. Suno, the company famous for creating entire songs with just a single click, well, they just did something completely out of left field. And honestly, this move might just change everything. And that's the big question, right? Suno's entire brand is built on this idea of instant, finished music. It's like a magic button. So why on earth would they buy a complex, super hands-on, professional-grade editing tool? I mean, it seems like a total contradiction. But as we're about to find out, the reason is kind of brilliant and maybe even necessary for their survival. So here's the headline. On June 26, the news dropped. Suno is acquiring WaveTool. And look, WaveTool isn't just some little app. It's a sophisticated, browser-based digital audio workstation, a DAW, and it is packed with pro-level features. This is the announcement that really sent a ripple through the whole industry. What this really signals is a massive pivot. We're watching them shift from that simple magic button idea that just spits out a song to giving their users a full-blown professional toolbox. And the reasons why are, well, they're really fascinating. First off, let's talk about the money. This number, $4.1 billion, that was the market value for digital audio workstations back in 2024. And it's projected to hit nearly $7 billion by 2032. So Suno isn't just buying a neat feature. They're buying their way into a massive, established, and still growing market. This is a very serious play. To really get the weight of this move, we have to understand what exactly it is that Suno just bought. So let's break it down. What even is a DAW? A digital audio workstation is basically the beating heart of modern music. The best way to think about it is like taking a giant classic recording studio, all the mixing boards, the effects racks, the tape machines, and packing all of it into software. For decades, it's been the essential tool behind almost every single song you've ever heard. It's not a button, it's a canvas where artists really get their hands dirty. And these things have been around forever. The whole journey started back in the 70s with these huge, crazy expensive systems and high-end studios. Then in 91, Pro Tools brought that power to way more people. And by 96, VST plugins made DAWs endlessly customizable. This is a mature, complex technology built around decades of human expertise, which, is the complete opposite of Suno's whole make a song in 10 seconds thing. So with this pivot, Suno basically lands itself right in the middle of the biggest debate raging in creative AI right now. Is this technology a tool to help human artists, or is it a machine designed to replace them completely? On one side, you have the really optimistic view. As this one Reddit user, SiteTorps, puts it, this is all about collaboration between AI and humans rather than replacement. In this world, AI is the ultimate assistant, right? It helps you brainstorm, it breaks you out of writer's block, it handles all the tedious stuff, and it lets the human focus on the actual creative vision. But then, of course, you have the other side of the coin. This user argues that AI is basically a theft machine, that it's trained on the work of human artists without their permission. And from this perspective, just pressing a generate button, that's not artistry. If the AI made the music, then you didn't, and the whole act of creation gets lost. So you see the conflict, right? Is AI a tool for augmentation, something that enhances human skill, or is it a force for automation, something that replaces it and creates a whole mess of legal and ethical problems? By buying a DAW, Suno is making a very, very clear bet on which side of that line it wants to be on. And that leads us to the real strategy here, which honestly has less to do with cool new features and a lot more to do with the law. It all comes down to a legal idea called transformative use. First, here's some really important context. This deal did not happen in a vacuum. Suno and its rival Udio are currently facing huge lawsuits from major record labels. They're being accused of copyright infringement on a massive scale, with the labels claiming that their AI models were trained on and are now reproducing their copyrighted music. So how do you defend yourself against something like that? Well, one way is with this legal concept called transformative use. Basically, to be legally safe, a new work can't just be a copy. It has to add new meaning or expression. Just pressing a button to generate a song might not be transformative enough to count as your own work. But what happens when you give users the tools to actively edit, reshape, and transform that output? This is the strategy. Integrating a DAW could be a legal masterstroke. See, a raw, untouched AI track is legally vulnerable. But the second a user starts editing, rearranging sections, adding new instruments, changing the mix, they create a clear record of human creative input. That record helps build a powerful defense. It helps prove the work was transformed, and it shifts the user from just being a passive prompter to being an active author. So this creates a whole new legally defensible workflow. It's basically a three-step process. First, you generate the raw musical idea with Suno. Second, and this is the absolute key, you transform it in the DAW, making it your own. And finally, you create a finished track that now has a clear paper trail of your own authorship, which makes it much safer for a commercial release. Okay, so let's bring this all back home. What does all this mean for you, the person who actually wants to create music? Well, it means that going forward, it looks like there are going to be two very different paths you can take. On one hand, you've got the professional path. This is for the serious artists, the ones who want to release their music commercially. They'll use the integrated DAW to really tear into the AI's output, transforming it into something unique and, most importantly, legally theirs. And then you'll have the casual path. This is for quick social media videos, personal projects, or just for fun, where one-click generation is good enough and the legal stakes are basically zero. And this quote right here, it just perfectly summarizes the whole pivot. The future of AI music, at least for serious creators, isn't about automation. It's about augmentation. The people who are really going to thrive are the ones who use AI as a powerful starting point, but then actively rework and reshape that material into something that is truly their own. And all of this leaves us with one final huge question. As these tools evolve, the very definition of what it means to be an author starts to get blurry. If an AI writes the notes, but a human is the one who gives them meaning, who's the artist? That's a question we're all going to be wrestling with for a long, long time. Thanks for tuning in.